Hey, this is Aric Improta of Night Versus, and I'm hanging out with Rob on Punkvideosrock.
I'm excited for everything that's going on for the band right now. First of all, you guys are on tour with OK Rock.
Yeah,
So,
it's been awesome.
let's talk about that lineup and what it's been like to be with them so far.
Well, this is day 2, so we kind of didn't know what to expect because the cool thing about this tour is it's so eclectic that like you have no idea what the reception's going to be like, what the stage setup is going to be like. I mean, when we walked in and saw like Issues, the headliners, stage setup, we couldn't believe. We felt like we walked on the set of Rent or something. That's what. I'm not making fun of it. Like seriously, it was just that detail. It looked like a Broadway production almost.
That's crazy.
I shouldn't say Broadway. It looks a little more hip than a Broadway production, but it was crazy. And every band is so good at what they do. So for us, like whether or not it's exactly each one is exactly what we listen to on our own, you can't help but respect what they're doing, and they're so good at it. I said that, but you get what I mean. So it was cool. It was cool, and especially One OK Rock. I hadn't really looked up their stuff. I have a good friend a good mutual friend, and he told me about them, and just blown away by stage presence, their ability to play. Like, I don't know. I mean, a lot of times when you get on tour, you hear these amazing recordings, and then you see the band in person, and this goes for every band on the tour.
It's completely different.
And yeah, every band on tour has been nailing it. Well, at least the last 2 days. We'll see. We'll see if it goes that way for the rest.
Now, One OK Rock is a great example for my next question, which they're from Japan, obviously, but they're constantly touring in the States right now. They're promoting everything in the States and blowing up in the States. And you guys did something similar. Night Versus started, and you guys went to the UK.
Yeah.
And that's where pretty much you got your start.
Definitely.
So what was that experience like, especially from you guys going from local shows constantly to just getting out of the country?
Well, it's cool because we did a lot of local shows previous to Doug in the band, and then when he came in, it was kind of hard because you have local shows in New York and California, but to go back and forth is tough, and we were like, well, it'd be cool to start somewhere that's kind of neutral for both of us. And a lot of our favorite bands are from the UK. Like, when you look at our actual playlist of what we listen to in the van, I'd say 50%, which is crazy when you think about how small the UK actually is. So we went over there, and they just actually seemed more interested in rock, which is obviously what we do. So especially that, I don't know, something about 2012, 13, at the time, it just seemed like other things were going on here, and it wasn't really in the public interest as much, at least not like when we were kids.
That's true. The genre kind of went away for a little bit.
Yeah. So it worked out better for us going over there, and we made a lot of friends and got to see places we'd never seen, and I don't know, it was cool. It was like you didn't have to deal with any like past perceptions of what your previous bands were or anything like that. You just went to a whole new audience, and
That's true.
I know you're laughing because you know about our previous bands, but yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Now, is it safe to say that maybe like the fans out in the UK are listening to rock music, like the fans out here are pretty much blasting pop music left and right?
Yeah, what's interesting is the first time we went, our good friend Sarah took us to a bar, and they were playing all rock music that we grew up on, and we couldn't believe it. Like straight up, like I think now, like in our local area, they'll have like an emo night or something, but no, this was like they were playing metal, and they were people like not moshing, but getting as close as you possibly could, like tons of kids doing it, and we were like, God, I wish we had this as kids. Like, I would love to go to.
Well, I don't think you even get. I mean, unless you go to a rock show or a metal show, I don't think you're gonna get it anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, and for the record, I'd rather go to a metal show than listen to it through a stereo. But if I happen to go to a bar, I definitely would rather hear metal than pop. That's just my taste, but yeah, so it was cool for that.
Now, you guys are touring out in the States, promoting new music, working on new music. You just produced with a big producer, actually, Ross Robinson. What was that like?
How much time do you have? This is crazy. But to be honest, he's our favorite producer. Just collectively, we grew up on all his records, his track record.
At the Drive-In being one of them, I assume.
My favorite band of all time, dude. And me and Doug and Riley, God. So like At the Drive-In, The Cure, Slipknot, just everything that we kind of like became was the result of the bands that he helped shape, So when the opportunity came up, we had some other cool offers from really cool producers, but that seemed like the one that we'd been wanting for a long time. So we went in, and it was everything we expected because we've heard crazy stories, but then also you can't expect any of it because there's crazy moments like I'd be recording and he'd have a fistful of quarters that he would just throw at me in the middle. It's like 115 degrees in this little room, and we'd play for like 4 or 5 hours straight, and Yeah, I mean, it's weird because he puts you in this place where you don't really know what to expect.
Right.
You know, he kind of he breaks you down to a point where he can really pull the most out of you. You're not giving him something you've rehearsed 100 times.
Right.
You know, he'll see what you did and kind of find the good parts about it and then emphasize them as much as he can. So we went for 6 weeks, and it was just like day in, day out, nonstop.
Yeah.
That intensity every day, which can be really draining. But I feel like having that on the record is really cool. I don't know. I mean, when I think back to the records he's done, I think that's what I liked so much about it, you know, that things weren't perfect,
Right.
but you felt everything that the singer sang. You felt every hit that a drummer would hit. Like, I don't know. He definitely did that with us, so it was cool.
How did he really like break you guys down though? What was one of the hardest things that he made you do that you maybe at times you thought weren't even possible?
Okay, so we came in, we wrote 55 songs for this.
Shit.
I mean, we like to write. We do it.
Yeah, but I mean, bands that like to write work on a record and they say they write 30.
No, yeah, we worked our butt off. I mean, this dude is like who we look up to, you know.
Right.
So
Gotta make use of that time.
yeah, and we were like, cool, maybe he'll do like a double album. Like maybe he'll be into this, you know. No, definitely not. He broke us down pretty quick. We showed him the best 21 we had. He picked 11 from that, and it was weird because he picked 5 of the slow song, like all 5 slow songs, and we're like, dude,
That's not what you guys want to do.
Like, was this gonna be good? But no, he a lot of them changed, and he kind of he worked on every person differently. So for me, I think it was more about just going into it not thinking. Like, he was like, I want you to hit as hard as you can and focus on this. And we would talk about, basically, he'd have Doug explain what the lyrics are about, and then I'd have to come up with something in my life that related to it and then only focus on that. So for me, I'm like, yeah, I can do this, but it's got to sound good. Like, I want to hear it back and feel like it's good. And we did like 2 or 3 takes the first day, and he's like, that's it. And I was like, are you sure? I mean, I know I hit hard, but I couldn't tell if it was sloppy. I couldn't tell if, like, he told me to change fills. He's like, I need you to not think, and I can have more options to pick from. So I didn't know what takes he was going to choose from. So on that end, it was kind of weird, but I just hit as hard as I could and tried to take it on like almost like a film. You know, like you go to a director and you have this certain skill set or things that you could be good at, and then you kind of want to fulfill their vision once they've seen what you have to provide, you know? And we also obviously had a lot of discussions with him, making sure he kind of understood our vision as well. But so for me, it was more like that, just like let your head go and hit as hard as you can and just make everything about the emotion and not about the technicality or like the perfection, you know? And then, I don't know, it kind of varied with everybody. Riley went through a lot of stuff similar to that because Riley and me practiced nonstop, you know, like getting everything to the click, which we didn't do anything to a click. It was
all raw live.
Yeah. And that's what's cool is we would do it in the room. So while I'm tracking drums, like Nick and Riley and Doug are all playing with me. Like Riley snapped his bass string like twice, I think, which is crazy. And Nick probably had it the easiest just because the way we write, Nick writes on the spot a lot. So I think Ross had a blast kind of getting to utilize that.
I think Nick's always been like that though.
Yeah.
He's always, I mean, I don't know.
He's a punk. He's good. And then Doug, it was cool because Doug just went in knowing he was going to have to give his full effort. So even though there were days when it seemed crazy, like straight 6 hours of singing only to wake up and do the same thing the next morning for 6 weeks, I don't know, he handled it like a trooper. There wasn't ever a moment where, like, they would break down in there, you know? But we also tried to keep that kind of private because we didn't want it to be something where anybody was thinking about anybody else. It was about getting Doug to express the songs in a way that I guess was most accurate to how he felt. And I don't think Doug really would have been that messed up with us being around, but we preferred it to be something where he could be as close and personal with Ross as he could. So I don't know. I mean, the whole thing was a pretty crazy process, and it'll show on the record. It definitely sounds. It's gonna be a little bit of a test for our fans because it's like a rough record, but I like that.
Well, I mean, you guys have always been like intense live, also. So I can only imagine what that record's gonna be live when you guys already have like a super intense level of performance.
Yeah, I mean, it makes it fun, definitely, because it's like, you know, I don't know, when you're playing in bands and you've done like this like perfect record, you make everything sound perfect, you almost stress about it sounding that way live. Whereas with this, we went so hard in the studio, like it's just trying to live up to that. You know what I mean? Like trying to hit as hard as we did there, and Doug trying to yell with the same, I don't know, enthusiasm and just be as honest as he can. And that was a cool part about it. I mean, not to sound cliche, but that's what Ross does and what he pulls out of people. And we went into it being as open as we could. And even though there were times we'd hear back the songs and be like, I don't know, man. I don't know if this is what we want. When it all came around, it was definitely the right decision.
Now, once you listen to the record and you listen to your previous work, how do you feel about your previous work?
It's tough because there's just a different time. We went to Crummett for the last albums, and working with him was amazing. But Crummett was more of a producer that looks at what you do and he tries to make it the best that it can be just based off of what you give him, you know? And that's not out of laziness. It's just, I think, yeah, and I think that's important too, because at that stage in our career, we had a lot of things we wanted to do, and we didn't really want to do anything else. Like, we didn't want a producer to rip us up. We wanted someone to say, I get it, let's make this the best it can be. That being said, we'd done 2 releases exactly how we wanted, and since Ross was such a big opportunity, we thought, well, it'd be a waste to go to him and not take full advantage of it. Right. So it's hard to compare because it was such a different mindset on both of them. But I think overall, this feels like the band we want to be right now. And I feel like us then might not have been as happy with this record. But yeah, so I don't have any regrets about the last one, but this definitely feels like who we are.
But it's definitely a different band, for example, like
to a certain extent. I mean, I don't think that our fans are gonna be bummed on it by any means, right. But it's like there are the bands that I don't know, I can't speak for everybody. For us, there are the bands that you hear as an influence and you try and I guess with a musician's head, you try and recreate the feelings that they do. And then there are the bands that you've listened to since you're 16 and you don't know why. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's not like you go, I loved how fast he drummed here or the chord changes at this part. You just
love everything about it.
Yeah, and you get so into the lyrics and the emotion. And I feel like this record was a lot more focused on that. So yeah, I mean, maybe musicians aren't going to be as into it, but I don't know, whatever. We've done...
At the end of the day, as long as you're happy with what you're producing, you know, I think that's the most important. Like, it's great that the fans love the music, but I think it's always important that the artist himself, like, enjoys what he just released.
Definitely.
I mean, that's blood, sweat, and tears, and what else, you know, you left out on the table.
Yeah, man, I don't really know how much more we could have left out. Honestly, like, I mean, you know me. I'm not the type of person that, like, I practice 5-6 hours a day. I'm down for hard work. But this was real hard work because it wasn't like follow these steps and you get here. Right. It's like, I need you to work as hard as you can, trusting me, and then I'm going to pull out the best part. Whether or not you like it, this is the part I think is best. So
you're still alive.
Yeah.
So you're still here. But that makes me want to listen to the record already. So with that being said, like, is that something that's coming out real soon? Like, or are you guys still working on getting the production of it?
I think it's going to be around July. I mean, I know all the tracking's done, right. Mixing's done. We're doing mastering right now. But yeah, I think July, and we're starting to tour on it now. Like I think we did 2 songs in the set out of 5 for this run.
What has that been like?
This run or playing
playing those 2 new songs?
It's cool. I mean, we had some downtime between the record because we technically finished the record in November. So we've just been playing the album front to back from then till now. And so, because we want to be comfortable, you know, you don't want to go on stage thinking. Right. That sucks. So, yeah, at this point, I mean, the first 2 shows, obviously, you're going to think a little bit, but it already feels comfortable. It's cool.
That's fast. Well, any plans for, like, a tour for it, like a proper headline tour? Do you feel ready for a headline tour in the States?
I mean, I'm ready for it. I know our band is ready, but I don't know. I mean, we would be if the opportunity came up and made sense, but we have so many friends that we want to tour with. It's hard to not want to go out with them when these offers keep coming. It's not like you want to turn them down and say, oh, we'll do it on our own. Right. No, like, I'd love to tour with the bands that we've been talking to.
There's a lot of bands that you guys, along with your favorite bands, but there's a lot of bands that you guys grew up like listening to or enjoying, or even sharing a few shows here and there with. But now you guys are constantly touring with them. Let Live being one of them. Yeah. So what is it like touring with these people that you kind of idolized at first?
You know, sometimes it's crazy. Let Live is like one of our favorite bands, just as people, right. Artists, musicians, however you look at them. they make you raise the bar every night, you know, like, which is awesome. That's what you want, or at least that's what I want, and our band usually wants as musicians, is you want someone that forces you to bring out your best, you know, especially when you're opening for them.
Right.
You don't want people to leave and not remember who you were, and chances are if you don't go as hard as you can, that's going to happen because they put on such a good show, and everybody in the band is so talented. So for us, I mean, you knew we grew up playing with them, but to play with them in a different country when their record is doing so well and you see people singing along, and even the places where we have people singing along with us, it's a totally different experience versus us playing the alley in 2005 with like our parents there.
Taking it back, yeah. Parents buying all the tickets.
No, it was like all them and like our high school friends, but that's how you start, and to do it with them and then see how far they've gone is incredible.
Well, it's definitely, I mean, you guys are proof that it's not something, if you want to be a musician, especially nowadays, it's not something that it's from one day to the next. I mean, you guys have worked hard many times, various projects, and, you know, it's finally, people are finally getting to see who you guys are.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it. I'm glad there's progress, because we, like I said earlier, me, Nick, and Riley have been playing together since we were 12. So in the last 10 years, it's been like 5 days a week, and Doug has been touring that entire time with his previous band, and to have him be as dedicated as he is awesome for us. So yeah, I don't know, it's cool. I'm excited to see how this next record gets received and get to play at other places.